Are you making budgeting mistakes that are costing you your future wealth? Imagine fast forwarding a few years. You're living stress free, your savings are growing, and every financial decision you make is building you a better life. It's entirely possible. But, if you're like most people, you might be making a few classic mistakes that keep you stuck and stressed about money. Today, we're diving into the top 5 budgeting mistakes every beginner should avoid. And I'll share tips you can apply right away to make sure you stay on the path to wealth. You won't want to miss the last point. It's a game changer that might surprise you. Footage of someone struggling with budgeting, looking frustrated at bills and receipts. Let's start with mistake number 1, not setting clear financial goals. It's tempting to just keep a vague idea of saving some money each month. But let me ask you, how much money do you really want in 3 years? If you don't know, you're letting life decide for you. And that's a recipe for falling short. Having specific goals, like saving for a trip, an emergency fund, or even a down payment on your first home, gives you direction and keeps you motivated. Your money has a purpose. And the clearer that purpose, the stronger your motivation to stick to a budget. Now, if you're thinking, I'm just starting out, do I really need goals right away? Think of it this way. Without a destination, every path looks right. It's time to change that. Let's talk about one of the biggest pitfalls people stumble into along the way. A young adult constantly checking their phone, getting distracted by online shopping. Mistake number 2, impulse spending. It sounds harmless, but impulsive purchases can be the financial equivalent of death by 1,000 cuts. Think about it. How many times have you said, it's just a few dollars, only to find yourself wondering where your money went at the end of the month? Impulse buying doesn't just drain your bank account, it chips away at your future. Here's a tip. Every time you feel like making an impulse buy, ask yourself, will this still be important to me in a month? If not, let it go. You'll be surprised how much more you can save just by delaying those small, tempting purchases. Now, you might be wondering, is there an easier way to manage my spending so I can still enjoy life? There is, and it ties into our next point. Imagine treating your budget like a diet and impulse. Buys like that one cookie you're trying not to eat. How's that going? Exactly. But budgeting isn't just about cutting back. It's also about being smart with where you allocate your money. A young person juggling several bills with a confused expression. Mistake number 3, not tracking every expense. Now, this might sound like overkill, but trust me, tracking every dollar is essential, especially when you're just starting. A few bucks here and there on coffee, takeout, or online subscriptions can easily add up to a significant amount over time. One trick is to use a budgeting app that categorizes and tracks every expense. It's simple, and it keeps you aware of your spending. Just like a GPS keeps you from getting lost on a road trip, tracking your expenses keeps you from wandering off your financial path. And speaking of paths, there's one detour that's especially dangerous for new budgeters. Someone getting excited after seeing the amount saved through consistent budgeting. Mistake number 4, failing to prioritize debt repayment. Debt is one of those things that doesn't just sit quietly in the background. It grows fast. If you're carrying credit card debt or student loans, prioritizing debt repayment early on can free you from years of stress. When you build debt payments into your budget and make it a priority, you're effectively buying your freedom. That freedom allows you to invest, save, and build wealth in ways you can't when debt is hanging over you. Can you imagine a future where debt doesn't control your choices? Are you really free if a piece of plastic owns your wallet? It's time to take back control. Visual of someone managing their budget, feeling confident. And finally, mistake number 5, not adjusting your budget regularly. Here's the thing. Life changes. Budgets aren't a set it and forget it kind of thing. Your goals evolve, expenses change, and that means your budget has to grow with you. Take a moment every month to evaluate what's working and what isn't. Are there areas you can cut back? Is there room to save more or invest in something new? Adjusting your budget ensures you're staying on track and aligned with your financial goals. But remember, budgeting is just one piece of the puzzle. To truly build wealth, there's something more powerful you need to understand: the power of compounding. It's how the wealthy stay wealthy and how you can build lasting wealth over time, even with small, consistent contributions. To learn more, check out my video on the power of compounding.